Good morning, children. This is the lecture 5 of fluid mechanics. Today we will discuss the new topic, viscosity. When liquid flows in the form of layer, if liquid is flowing, there are different layers of liquid like that. There are different layers of liquid. In the upper layer, certainly speed will be large in comparison to lower layer. If its velocity will be v plus dv, then this velocity will be v. It means all the molecules of this layer is moving with velocity v, while on the upper layer its velocity is something large. Then there will be a friction between the layers. If motion of liquid is along this direction, then a frictional force is acting in opposite direction. Frictional force, that is called here viscous force, because this friction acting opposite to the motion of liquid, so it is called viscous force. This viscous force is opposite to the motion, and this phenomenon is called viscosity. So we can say that viscosity is the property of liquid, by virtue of which it opposes the motion of liquid, between the layers, This viscous force is directly proportional to change in velocity, that is dv. It is inversely proportional to distance between the layer, that distance between the layer is dx. And also directly proportional to area of the layer. This is the area of layer. When all will be combined, then Fb is equal to eta A dv by dx, where this eta is called coefficient of viscosity. Which implies eta equal to coefficient of viscosity. This eta is called coefficient of viscosity. Hence, you have to learn this formula: viscous force equal to eta A dV by dx. This is the viscous force. This viscous force always acts between the layer opposite to the motion of liquid. A, area of cross section of the layer or area of the layer. Area of the layer. dV by dx, it is also called velocity gradient. Velocity by length, that is called velocity gradient. And this eta, you are knowing coefficient of viscosity. This is a constant. It depends on the nature of it. Now, you can find unit of eta. Unit of eta. SI unit. That will be equal to eta equal to FD dx by AdV. AdV. FV, that is Newton meter divided by meter square into meter per second. This will be cancelled. So this will be equal to Newton second per meter square. I think clear? On the concept of flow of liquid, Stokes has given a concept that is known as Stokes. Now, Stokes. This is a liquid. In the liquid, a spherical body is dropped into the liquid. When this spherical body is going, or this solid body is going into the liquid, so certainly he told that there will be a viscous force. That viscous force V acts on the solid. This viscous force is directly may be proportional to eta x, radius of the spherical body, and velocity of the solid. So I have given x, y, z. We are not knowing. These are directly proportional or inversely proportional. So this can be written as Fb equal to k eta x ry dj. Taking dimension in both sides. Fb L t minus 2. K has no dimension. Eta dimension is ml minus 1. T minus 1. X. The dimension of R will be equal to L y. And dimension of V will be equal to Lt minus 1 Z. This can be written as M Lt minus 2 is equal to M power is x. So M to the power x. L power is minus x plus y plus z, and T minus x and minus z. From the principle of homogeneity, its power is 1, x equal to 1, minus x plus y plus z is equal to 1, and minus x minus z equal to minus 2. We'll put the value of x equal to 1 equal to minus 2. Then 1 plus z is equal to 2. Then z equal to 1. We put the value here, minus 1 plus y plus z equal to 1. It will be cancelled. Then y equal to 1. We got here y equal to 1, x equal to 1 and z equal to 1. Putting these values in equation 1, from equation 1, from 1 we get FB is equal to K eta 1 R1 and B Z, which implies FB is equal to K eta R B. Practically, the value of K is 6 pi. Practically, the value of K is equal to 6 pi. So, FB equal to 6 pi eta RB. This is the viscous force. This is given by the Stokes. He told that if any solid body, particularly spherical body, is dropped into the liquid, then on the spherical body, force act, that is called viscous force. It will be opposite to the motion and it depends on the coefficient of viscosity, directly proportional, radius of the spherical body and v, velocity of the solid body. I think clear? Now, we'll come in a special discussion of Stokes' law. Discussion of Stokes' law. Now, if solid body is dropped into the liquid, then what will happen? When solid body is dropped into the liquid, then at initial level there will be no viscous force. Viscous force will be 0. But when it will enter, then its weight is acting and buoyant force will act in upward direction. Initially, in between the first two layers, viscous force will be 0. But there will be a buoyant force acting upward direction and weight is acting downward. Certainly there will be a difference between these two forces. Suppose that W minus FB, suppose that this is acting 10 Newton and this is acting 6 Newton, then 10 minus 6, 4. By the 4 Newton force the body is going downward, but at particular position inside the liquid, this W and this buoyant force will be equal and FB is acting, this viscous force is acting in upward direction. Then what will happen? This FB plus buoyant force is equal to weight of the liquid. At that time, it moves with a constant velocity because after some time these two forces will be equal. At this position, upward force is equal to downward force and body will come in equilibrium. Body moves with a constant velocity and that constant velocity is called terminal velocity. Once more, initially viscous force will be 0. At that time only two forces are acting, but when it will go down, then what will happen? This viscous force and buoyant force acting upward direction will be equal to weight of the body. At that time, body will come in equilibrium. So net force will be 0. When net force will be 0, then body moves with a constant velocity, and this constant velocity is called terminal velocity. So when body will attain terminal velocity, then FB plus FB plus FB is equal to W. FB 6 pi eta R Vt, terminal velocity, plus FB, that is the buoyant force. Buoyant force is equal to V rho g, and weight equal to mg. Okay, 6 pi eta R Vt is equal to mg. Mass of the body, that is equal to density equal to mass by volume. Mass equal to density into volume. Density of the body into volume into g. It will come this side, minus V rho g. This is the density of liquid. This is the density of body. Now Vt can be calculated as V sigma V g minus V rho g divided by 6 pi eta R. Again this can be calculated as Vt equal to sigma, this is the V will be common, Vg will be common, this will be equal to sigma minus rho divided by 6 pi eta R. This can be written as, this V will be equal to 4 by 3 pi R cube G sigma minus rho divided by 6 pi eta R. This pi will be cancelled. 2 2 ja 4, 2 3 ja 6, and R will be cancelled. This will be equal to 2 by 9 R square G sigma minus rho divided by eta. This is the terminal velocity. So dependence of terminal velocity depends on radius of the body, eta coefficient of viscosity, sigma density, and rho is also density. One is for body and one is for liquid. I think clear? Okay, see the next topic. Yes, children, comes to the next topic, Reynolds number. Liquid is flowing through a tube. Its nature is streamlined, but when speed increases, after certain speed, it becomes turbulent. That maximum speed after which it becomes turbulent called critical velocity. Afterward, that we'll discuss the Reynolds number. First of all, we derive the equation. This critical speed depends on diameter of tube, density of liquid, and coefficient of viscosity. So see, the maximum speed after which liquid becomes turbulent called critical speed. This critical speed VC, critical speed depends on diameter of tube. This is the diameter of tube X. We are not knowing it is directly proportional or inversely proportional. Then coefficient of viscosity, nature of liquid, then density of the liquid, that is Z, which implies Vc equal to constant K dx eta y rho Z. This is the first equation. Dimensionally Vc, that is velocity Lt minus 1, K dimensionless, D diameter, Lx, eta coefficient of viscosity ml minus 1, T minus 1, y, and eta rho density of liquid, mass by volume, ml minus v, that is Z. L T minus 1 is equal to L X minus 1 minus 3J M Y plus Z T minus 1. From the principle of homogeneity, L 1 x minus y equal to 1, T minus 1, here is minus 1 equal to minus y, N y plus z, this side m naught, that's why it will be equal to 0. Here y equal to 1, putting the value of y here, x minus 1 is equal to 1, so this will be equal to x minus 1 is equal to 1, this will be equal to 2. Here y plus z, here is 1 plus z is equal to 0, so z equal to minus 1. Once more, I think there is mistake here. L x minus y minus 3z, x minus y minus 3z is equal to 1, that is y equal to 1, z equal to minus 1 is equal to 1, that is x minus 1 plus 3 equal to 1, x plus 2 equal to 1, x equal to 1 minus 2, x is equal to minus 1, so x equal to minus 1, y equal to 1 and z equal to minus 1. Putting these values in equation 1, so from 1 we get that is equal to critical velocity in place of k here, that is eta, eta equal to eta z, I think. Eta first was diameter, I think, diameter x, eta that was y, and that is after that density z. So we write here Vc equal to, in place of k we write here r, because it is given by the scientist Reynolds, and d, that is x is minus 1, eta y, that is 1, and rho z, that is minus 1. So this will be equal to Vc equal to r eta divided by d rho. So Vc equal to r is equal to Vc d rho by eta. Vc d rho by eta, and this r is called Reynolds number. This r is called Reynolds number. This is a totally number. It is dimensionless, because when you find the dimension of this quantity, it will be dimensionless. So r is called Reynolds number. And if this Reynolds number will be less than 2000, flow of liquid will be a streamline, and if it will be greater than 2000, it will be turbulent. So by knowing the value of Reynolds number, we can decide either the flow of liquid is a streamline or turbulent flow. Okay, I think clear. Now see one question. Liquid is flowing. Liquid is flowing with a speed. Liquid is flowing with a speed 100 meter per second through a tube. If coefficient of viscosity is equal to 100 poise, find the nature of liquid. If it flows through a tube of 1 centimeter radius, we'll discuss nature of liquid. We have to find, so we should know what is the Reynolds number. That's why for getting the Reynolds number, r is equal to rho Vc d divided by eta. R is equal to rho Vc d by eta. Here is rho density of liquid, 10 to the power 3 kilogram per meter cube. Here is Vc, speed 100 meter per second. Here is diameter of the tube, radius is given 1 centimeter, so diameter will be 2 centimeter. 2 into 10 to the power minus 2 divided by eta. Eta is 100 poise. 100 poise means, poise is the unit of coefficient of viscosity in CGS. So you are knowing eta. eta is equal to Fv is equal to eta A dV by dx. So Fv dx is equal divided by A dV equal to eta. So this will be equal to, this is dyne, this is centimeter square, and this is centimeter per second. So this will be cancelled. So dyne second divided by centimeter square. This is the unit. This unit is called poise. So R will be equal to 10 to the power 3 into 100 into 2 into 10 to the power minus 2 divided by 100 poles. Pole means dyne. 1 Newton equal to 10 to the power 5 dyne, and 1 dyne equal to 10 to the power minus 5 Newton. Second, this is the centimeter square, so 10 to the power minus 4 meter square. I think clear. This will be cancelled. 10 to the power minus 1. This will be cancelled. This will be 10. 10 to the 20. And it will go above. That will be 200. This is the less than 2000. So the nature of the liquid is streamlined. I think clear. So we can find the value of Reynolds number, and we can calculate the nature of the liquid, which is streamlined or turbulent. Next topic, surface tension. Surface tension. When we take water in a container, when we take the water in a container or liquid in a container, the upper surface is like a membrane. The upper surface is like a membrane. This upper surface has only liquid molecules, same type nature of liquid molecule. Means every molecule has same nature with other molecules. So the force acting between them is called force of cohesion. Force acting among them is called force of cohesion. So this force is acting in the upper membrane. This is the upper membrane. This is the upper membrane. This is the liquid. Force acting among the molecules of liquid in upper membrane, that is force of cohesion. This force can be calculated. This force can be calculated along this line in both sides. If the length of this line is L and force is F, then surface tension is equal to force per unit length. Force per unit length. This force always tries to minimize the area of upper membrane. This force always tries to minimize the area of upper membrane, and this nature of liquid is called surface tension. So surface tension is the property of liquid by virtue of which the force acting tangentially will try to minimize the area of upper membrane, and that is called surface tension, force by length. So defined as surface tension is the property of liquid, by virtue of which the tangential force tries to minimize the area of upper membrane. Minimize the area of upper membrane. So surface tension equal to force by length. Its unit will be equal to Newton per meter. The next topic, surface energy. Surface energy. From name it is clear that surface energy of the upper surface of the liquid is called surface energy, but mathematically it is calculated as potential energy of upper surface divided by area. That is equal to potential energy. You are knowing that there will be a work done. The work done in increasing the area, the area is called divided by area is called surface energy. Its unit will be equal to joule. I think unit of work is joule. So work done in increasing the area, this is the work done. This work done will be joule, and here is area, that is meter square. Now relation between surface tension and surface energy. Relation between surface tension and surface energy. Relation between surface tension and surface energy. Take a rectangular wire of a frame on which a wire is kept here. Keep the soap solution on the system. Keep the system in a soap solution. So there will be a layer on this rectangular system, means layer of soap will come on the system. You are knowing, you should know that soap solution has double layer. That's why here is the layer. But you are knowing that upper surface always minimizes the area, so it will try to minimize. Here force will act, and this system will come at this position A, B. This will be A dash, B dash. Means this is the decrease, or when you will put forward, that will be increase. So here is X. So there will be a work done. So surface energy is equal to work done divided by area. Work done is equal to, this length is L and this is X. This part is L, this part is X. So L into X, but it has double layer, so multiplied by 2. Divided by, this is the work done. Work done is equal to force into displacement. Force that will be equal to, this is the force. Work done. Force, here in this direction force is acting. Once more, in this direction force is acting. So force into displacement. Force into displacement. But it has double layer, that's why multiplied by 2. Divided by area. This is the length and this is the x. So this will be area Lx. We are knowing surface tension is equal to force by length. So force equal to T into L. So this will be T into L into X divided by L into X. It will be cancelled. Here is also double layer, so multiplied by 2. This is multiplied by 2. Then T will be cancelled. Then surface energy is equal to surface tension. So mathematically both are same, but by nature both are different. Calculating way is different, but mathematically both are same. Once more, this is the rectangular frame. This frame is kept in a soap solution. When we will keep in a soap solution, double layers will be created in between the frame. Due to this creation, upper layer always minimizes the area. That's why a force is acting and this frame, this wire comes at this position. Due to this displacement, work will be done. So surface energy equal to work done by area. Work done is force into displacement effects. It has a double layer, that's why multiplied by 2. Divided by area, 2 into L into X. Everything will be cancelled. Now here is tension and here is surface energy. So mathematically surface energy and surface tension are equal. Okay, thank you.